Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the tutorial. In this tutorial, we will dive into the image capture tool. This will help our macro be more accurate and run longer without fail. It will also act as a safeguard to protect us from purchasing or selling items we do not intend to. So without further ado, let's get started. If you watched part 1 of the video, you should already have PS4 Remote Play and JitBit Macro Recorder downloaded to your computer, but if you don't, I have the links down below. In the last video, I went over how JitBit Macro Recorder works, and we created a macro that automated the Alt Playbook method. The macro we created was pretty simple. We just recorded our initial inputs as we manually performed the method on our keyboard, and then we cleaned up the excess commands. Now I do have one that I already have made up, and I'll make sure to have this in the link below. Not sure how I'll upload it as a file, but I'll figure some way out. If I can't figure it out, feel free to just copy what I'm doing here. So if we go back to my original playbook right here, you see I have a bunch of ifs and elses and images and like what the hell is this stuff? So what this is safeguards. They're safeguards so that my macro doesn't go awry and start buying things and selling stuff that it shouldn't. When I first did this method, I actually bought a whole bunch of 86s. I let it play while I was sleeping, and bought all these 86s, lost like 100k training, and it was quick selling, or it was auctioning out the players for 250 coins a piece, and I was like, what is that? So let's go ahead and show you how you would use these and how to make them. So first on, I have this if image right here, right below my first mouse click. That's the first mouse click where we put it right here, where we have our mouse here and click into the PS4 Remote Play. To add it in, you go to find image on screen. You can click on here and you have the if image found command, so you would add that here and you will get this pop-up menu. I already have that, so I'm just go ahead and click into that to show you. And here we have a couple things. Don't be intimidated, it's not that difficult to learn. There's just maybe 2-3 main things here. So first one, you want to see what image you want to capture. So right here, this is going to be our starting point, so I want to make sure that we know where we're starting from. So I'm going to use this guy's head, right? And it's going to know what it looks like, and right here we have a similarity coefficient. All that does is tell the computer like, okay, how similar are the colors of the pixels, the location of the pixels, and whether or not that is a true or false statement. I have it at 30. The lower you go, the more accurate it is, but it has very little room for error. So I prefer going with 30. Some people do 50. Some people do 10. I just randomly chose 30. It works. I don't know. Here, this is me capturing the specific region I want the computer to, or the macro to look at. So I'm just gonna like highlight this whole section right here. So if this image is in this section and it's similar enough for it to be like 30% similar, and that's going to return a statement of true. But if I go ahead and go to somewhere else where I have this highlighted, it's going to have a statement of false, and that's really what you're looking for. You want to make sure that wherever you're testing for an image, you want to make sure that it is true. That's what this is for. True. Cool. So awesome. So now what that does is that it tests, alright, is this image here or not, false or true or false, whatever. If it's true, you're going to go ahead and follow the subsequent commands. So that will tell me to go all the way down to the right, like that, right? However, if it's something else, if for some reason we get a glitch in our macro and we start out over here, what may have happened is that you had an issue where your macro or your PS4 had a connectivity issue, and so it's not picking up that image right away. So you may want it to wait a little before you proceed with the subsequent commands. So I have a delay here set for 3000 milliseconds, which is about 3 seconds. And then after that 3 seconds, you go ahead and follow through with the rest of your commands to go to the right. So let me show you what that looks like. So if I press play, it knows it's not there. So you can see that it's kind of pausing there. So it's pausing at 2 seconds, but it's okay because I have the else command. Now it goes all the way to the end. So now we're getting ahead. So now the end if function. What that does is that if you have this image right here and you have an else and it goes all the way down to it, this is where it ends. Here's some help text. And then that's just how you're supposed to end the function. Okay. So I do that. Okay, so now we're at this part of the screen where we press all the way down to the right. And it won't go anywhere else if you just press right. You can try it yourself. It won't go anywhere. So now I have another one. Checks to make sure that, okay, this Alt Playbook is right here. Same thing we did earlier. I captured this section. Made sure that I'm looking in this area, and I have a coefficient of 35. I just randomly chose 35, I guess. So that says true. Cool. Moving on. Go ahead and go to the next screen. We pressed enter, wait a little bit, enter again, wait a little bit. Now we're pressing up on that. Now this one I think is a pretty important image to make sure you have to. This is looking to see if the yes is there. Now because sometimes your up button won't register, and when it doesn't register you won't be able to, you're going to just be misclicking because it starts here, and if you press enter here you go back to the beginning and then it kind of throws off your whole macro. And that's how these macros mess up. You miss one stroke, it continues on with the rest of your commands, and it'll end you somewhere where you end up selling everything you own, and it's just a bad situation. So making sure that's there is good, because now that I have this if image, alright, cool, if I pressed up, it's here already, and if it's not there, what this does is I have this if else function that gives another shot to press up and then press enter. So it's like a second chance, and we can go ahead and end that function down here. So press enter, wait 7 seconds. This is probably the longest animation in there. And then I have this image where I'm looking in the top right corner, and yours is going to be different. I have 87 overall on this account. I have a 98 on my other account. So just go ahead and fix this capture up for yourself, or if you're doing the quick method and don't care, you don't have to have any of these images on there. I just prefer having these here just because I had a really bad experience not having these here. Let's see. So that image is there, we would go ahead and wait 7 seconds and then press escape. And then once we press escape, we would wait 3 seconds and go back to the screen. If that is not there, if this is, if this pops up, this white thing pops up and you aren't able to see your 87 plus when this image is testing, then you would delay it. I delayed 3 seconds so it can give it a second chance to go see if it's there or not. Once that's done, go ahead and press escape, and then go ahead and back to your screen. I put 5 seconds. I can make it 3 seconds. It doesn't really matter. Now, this is the part where I talked about earlier with the auction house selling pop-up comes on. So when you sell something, your notifications pop up and it shows you how much you sold it for. It might say bundle rewards, but it will pop up, and if it does pop up, you're gonna see the coins in the middle of your screen. I have this capture ready. It might not work for you. You might have to sell a card first before you go ahead and sell a card fairly cheap. Make sure it pops up. Do the image capture in this portion. Make sure you capture it. Just do what I showed you earlier. And what that'll do is that it'll do a second escape function for you. So if this pops up, it doesn't do it every time. You're not going to get 2 escapes every time. If the macro sees this image here, after it's waited the 5 seconds or the 3 seconds after your first escape attempt, then it will press a second escape. And that is the end of the macro. So you can see I have the repeat function here and the repeat function here. So right here. So you can repeat this for as many times as you want. There's a couple ways to do the repeat times. I just chose to put it into my actual macro. Another way for you to do it is to do the play special, and you can play it as many times as you want. You can play it 1 time, you can play it 1,000 times. If you put 0, that counts as infinity. So do however you want. It's not really it's not necessary for you to put the repeat in here, because you could do it through here, but if you want to, you can. Now I was able to upload my macro files to my Google Drive so that I could share with you guys. I have part 1 here with the images, and I have part 2 of the macro where you open the unopened packs. This one I didn't put any images. It seemed to work pretty well without them, but if you want to add images into them, you can. But pretty much all you have to do is click on the link. It'll take you here. Click download, and then you just open up the file, and it should open up into your JitBit right away. Now the first thing you need to do is just change this click to wherever your PS4 remote play is. If you click onto here, it'll show you the different coordinates on where your mouse currently is. So let's say your PS4 remote play is down here. You would just need to copy those numbers into the fields. That's pretty much it for that. For the images, I would say you would have to recapture all the images, but again, that's pretty simple. Just make sure that you have it in the right place and that it looks the same on your screen. It may depend on the size and resolution of your screen. So that's pretty much it. I think that's going to do it for me for this tutorial. If you guys have any questions, put them down in the comments below. Appreciate it. Thanks guys. Peace.